Anybody here ever had a near-death experience? Sometimes I get somebody raises their hand. You know somebody who has had a near-death experience? There are tens of thousands, they call them NDEs, acronym is NDE, near-death experience. There are tens of thousands of documented cases of near-death experiences. And a friend of mine, we were later roommates in graduate school, but a friend of mine in college, when he was in high school, he had an NDE. And when we were in college, he told me, Henry told me, he said, I think it was a pool-related drowning, almost drowning, or he did drown, because he died. He was in the hospital. It was one of these classic situations that you sometimes read about, where he said he was up on the ceiling. His mind was up on the ceiling, looking down at his body on the gurney or whatever in the hospital room, with all the doctors and the nurses scurrying around. His parents, he could see his parents. I don't know if they were inside or outside the room, but he could see them because he's up looking. He could see everything. And they're freaking out, of course. And he could see he pronounced him dead. And then some minutes later, he went back into his body. He told everybody what conversations they were having, what people, who was saying what to whom, the whole thing, the whole 9 yards. So there's tens of thousands of these documented cases, and how do you explain that? And the reason I mention this is just because when we hear of these cases, I think what it does is, whether we've had the experience or not, or whether we even know anybody who's had the experience, I think when we hear about these documented cases that are medically documented and so forth, it kind of makes us, it increases our curiosity, for one. And it also, it opens up the possibility in our awareness that maybe there is this possibility that the mind continues after the body does, when you hear stories like that.